Part 72. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills. Author, Banzuan Xianxia. Chapter 711. Zuyun was even more confused. He looked down at the spirit stone in his hand. Didn't it mean that the Yasha realm lacks spiritual stones? Why is it that no one wants the spiritual stone? Little did he know that the demon cultivator holding him also owed Ding Dong a lot of spiritual stones. In order to be able to pay off his debt, he dared not take a break during the day or sleep at night. He only thought about how to get spiritual stones every day so as to pay off the debt. After going back and forth like this for more than 10 years, I finally don't have to pay it back today. How can I still value Zuyun's $2? What a wonderful day, fellow Taoist, can you tell me about it so that I can be happy too? Zuyun struggled to break free from the demon cultivator's arms and asked quickly. You just came from outside, right? Let me tell you, Adong is dead. His protective umbrella is also dead, and we don't have to pay back the money we owe, ha ha ha. After the demon cultivator finished speaking, he went to the street to find someone else to hug him. Zuyun was surprised, wasn't he? This move was so fast. I just slipped away from the noses of the city guards and returned to the city. Adong died. He looked up and saw that there were still some monks gathered around a wall, and he couldn't help but squeeze through. It doesn't matter if you don't look at it. When you look at it, you are even more surprised. It is not surprising that Adong died. But the backer behind him turned out to be the great elder of Yaloo demon sect. Demoted to immortal status. However, the announcement did not say where Ding Zhen went. Yaloo demon sect is so awesome. When I get to the Yasha realm, if I don't adapt to the climate, I will submit to your methods. Zuyun secretly praised, even if he was crowded with people, he still needed to meet Wang Meng and Wang Shu, and ask them about the situation of Yaloo demon sect. He likes this method so much. After running wildly, Zuyun finally arrived at Wang Meng's thatched house. But there was only Wang Meng alone in the room. And he didn't seem happy at all. It wasn't until Zuyun stood in front of him that Wang Meng realized that the light in front of him was getting darker. Hey, fellow Taoist, are you okay? Wang Meng wiped his eyes, in disbelief. What, you want to do something with me? Zuyun tilted his head and said with a half smile. No, no. Wang Meng waved his hands in a panic and said, why are you okay? My little sister said that she received 10,000 spiritual stones from you and went to her master to plead for you. Did her master come forward and let you go? If he hadn't seen that scene in the city, Zuyun would have thought this was possible. But Zuyun would not believe that even a great elder could kill him and destroy the path to immortality. So, he laughed and joked, don't worry about how I'm fine anyway. Let me tell you some good news, Adong is dead, and his backers were also dealt with by the Yaloo demon sect. People in the city are singing and dancing. I see how listless you are, why don't you come over and take a look if you can hold a beautiful nun? Zuyun originally thought that Wang Meng would be extremely excited when he heard the news. Unexpectedly, Wang Meng said with a sad face, Adong is dead. This is a big loss. I should have known that the spiritual stone would not be returned to him first. Zuyun was speechless for a moment, but when he thought about it carefully, it really made sense. It's too early, won't you pay it back in vain? Okay, isn't it just a few dozen spiritual stones? By the way, where is your sister, will she come back? Regarding the Yaloo demon sect, Zuyun actually wanted to ask her. Hey, my sister has gone to the section, she may not be able to come back for a long time. Wang Meng sighed, hesitated for a long time, and then said, by the way, fellow Taoist Zhu, I have a merciless request, I don't know. Say it. Zuyun was not polite. After this day's interaction, he felt that the two brothers and sisters were pretty good. And he himself has no prejudice against magic. That's right, that family heirloom. Zuyun didn't wait for him to finish, then he took out the kettle and said with a smile, "I've finished reading this thing. It's indeed an ordinary thing. I'll give it back to you." The fragments inside have been fused by Zuyun, and the kettle has lost its value. But for Wang Meng, it is a spiritual belief. So, he was stunned. Is this family heirloom returned like this? What? No. Zuyun stuffed the kettle over and said with a smile, "Take it back, it means you have no loss." This is really true. Wang Meng smiled happily, but then he said with a solemn expression, "I wish, fellow Taoist, every code will be a code. I will earn 20 spiritual stones and give them back to you." Zuyun smiled and waved his hand, and said, "Okay, I'll give you 10 spirit stones a day, right? Then I'll give you 2 more days. Okay, I won't give you any spirit stones, and we'll pay for it. I wish, fellow Taoist, that fellow Taoist Feng has been captured. If you stay here for 3 days, wouldn't that be?" Wang Meng looked worried. "Ha ha ha, that old guy. Don't worry about anything happening to him. It was his son who arrested him. If anything happens to him, he can only blame himself for not being able to teach his son well." Zuyun waved his hand indifferently. Compared to Feng and he, Luo Yanran was more important to him at this time. This woman is about to become the next leader of Yaluo demon sect. And she will be released from seclusion in 2 days. Then, fellow Taoist Zhu, what are we doing now? Do you want to go out on the streets? Let me introduce you to Yaluo City. Zuyun chuckled, as he happened to have nothing to do. Even if he was practicing, he didn't have much thought. Simply follow Wang Meng and hang out in the city for 2 more days. Anyway, I have a lot of spiritual stones on my body, and the rules in Yaluo City are so strict, nothing will happen. However, when he returned to the city center again, he found several female nuns carrying long swords among the festive crowd. But what attracted Zuyun was not their beauty, but their expressions are incompatible with their surroundings. Gloomy and a little cruel. Bless you, fellow Taoist, these are people from the Silver Sword Demon sect. At this time, Wang Meng whispered beside him, "Don't look at them for too long, the female cultivators of the Silver Sword Demon sect are evil." Oh! Zuyun came back to his senses and asked in surprise. When he was in the demon refining tower, he did go with a female cultivator from the Silver Sword sect. He also saw the other party's vicious thoughts. Even more so when he met Luo Yanran, he knew their behavior style. Fellow Taoist Zhu, when you first arrived in Yusha realm, you must not know the bad reputation of Silver Sword sect. They can be said to do whatever it takes to achieve their goals. Zuyun said calmly, "Why do you resort to unscrupulous means?" "I heard." Wang Meng looked around and found that no one was paying attention to them, so he lowered his voice and said, "The most representative method of the Silver Sword Demon sect is that if they want to kill an enemy, they will do everything possible to do double cultivation with the opponent. Take advantage of the opponent's reach when you are in a state of confusion, you draw your sword and cut off the opponent's lifeblood." Hearing this, Zuyun couldn't help but feel a chill in his crotch. What an eye-opener. Fortunately, I kept them at a distance and killed all the Danji sect members of the Silver Sword sect at that time. He patted his chest gently, as if he was greatly frightened. "Bless you, fellow Taoist, there is a saying in Yusha realm, it is better to recruit Yaluo than Silver Sword. Yaluo is talking about Yaluo demon sect, and Yinjian is naturally the Silver Sword demon sect." Zuyun was stunned for a moment, then became curious and said, "The Yaluo demon sect's methods of doing things are astonishing. Who else would be willing to offend it?" He, Wang Meng gave a bad laugh and said, "Friend Zhu, you don't know something, what does this refer to?" As he spoke, he stretched out his hands to face each other, and bent his 2 thumbs at the same time. Zuyun suddenly realized that he couldn't help but think of Meng Wei. No wonder this old girl. "Friend Zhu, let's go somewhere else. Being targeted by them is not a good thing. Wang Meng saw that Zhu Yun's eyes were always looking at the people of the Silver Sword Demon sect, and he was even a little lost in thought, so he immediately tugged on the corners of his clothes. Unexpectedly, Zhu Yun smiled slightly and said, "Why, do they still dare to take action in Yoluo City? I wish, fellow Taoist, even if they don't dare, how can they leave the city? What if you provoke them, or if those female cultivators take a fancy to you, and you leave the city in 3 days? Fancy me?" Zhu Yun looked strange. "Yes, I wish you, fellow Taoist, to be so handsome, not only strong, but also good-tempered. I only wish I was born to be the leader. Go, go, go." Zhu Yun cursed loudly, felt a chill all over his body, and pushed Wang Meng away. Unexpectedly, this joking action immediately attracted a few rays of nascent soul consciousness, which frightened Zhu Yun into another excitement. He quickly stepped forward to help Wang Meng up, put his hand on his shoulder, and smiled. Said, "Don't be afraid, you see they seem to have entered an inn, why don't I treat you to a meal?" This. Seeing that Wang Meng was still hesitant and that the spiritual consciousness locked on him had not receded, Zhu Yun felt a little anxious and said directly, "I pushed you just now and someone noticed me. I don't want to be accidentally injured. You just help me, let's have a meal and leave, okay?" "Fellow Taoist Zhu, that's not what I meant." Wang Meng waved his hands quickly and pointed to the inn where the female cultivators went with a distressed look on his face. "The cost there is quite high. Isn't it just a spiritual stone?" Zhu Yun laughed, patted his waist, put a little force on his hand, hooked Wang Meng, took 3 steps and 2 steps, and walked over there. And several rays of spiritual consciousness also receded in an instant. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills. Author, Banzuan Xianxia. Chapter 712. Zhu Yun broke into a cold sweat. Apparently, there was no misunderstanding among the nascent Soul City guards. "This is easy to handle, I am the guest who created the spirit stone tax for you in Yoluo City." Zhu Yun pulled Wang Meng, who was half nudging him, all the way into the inn. Yoluo Wine Pavilion. At first glance, it seems that it is opened by Yoluo City itself, and you can also drink. "You two gentlemen, do you want to drink or stay in the hotel?" As soon as I entered the inn, I was immediately greeted by a waiter. Normally, the inn would not have so many guests. Could it be that the whole world is celebrating Adong's death? The waiter thought to himself, looking at the 2 people in front of him with a smile. "Have 2 bottles of your signature wine, and then serve some special dishes," Zhu Yun said with a smile, and then walked towards the location of the people from the Silver Sword Demon sect. Beside them, there was an empty table. But in Wang Meng's view, this is tantamount to seeking death. With such a large area, where can you sit? You have to sit with those Silver Sword people? "Fellow Daoist Wang, come on, today is a good day, we brothers must have a good drink and celebrate." Zhu Yun didn't know what he was thinking, so he deliberately said this so that he could cooperate with her and at the same time dispel the doubts of these female cultivators from the Silver Sword Demon sect. Wang Meng is just timid and fearful, not a brainless person. Hearing what Zhu Yun said about this, what else can he do? Even though I was reluctant at all costs, I had no choice but to follow Zhu Yun and sit down next to the female cultivators from the Silver Sword Demon sect. But I'm on pins and needles. Fortunately, the waiter was very fast. After the drinks and food were served, Wang Meng's uneasiness was relieved. "Come on, let's have a drink before we talk." Zhu Yun personally poured wine for Wang Meng, and the rich aroma of the wine overflowed, which shocked Zhu Yun. He also knows how to make wine, and just smelling the aroma of the wine is good. Good wine. The 2 of them sighed, and Zhu Yun couldn't help but praise him, but unexpectedly, it attracted the attention of several female cultivators behind him. You two fellow Taoists are really heroic. This Yaluo Nianzi is worth 100 spirit stones in a pot. You are such a great drinker, and you are not afraid of spoiling this fine wine. Zuyun raised his eyebrows, but he didn't expect them to take the initiative to speak. He couldn't help but smile heartily and said, "Fairies, of course you have to drink to your heart's content. Otherwise, what kind of wine should you drink? Isn't it just 100 spirit stones?" Zuyun didn't look back at all. He poured another drink for each of them and said, "Old Wang, have fun and come again." Now, not only the female cultivators looked at them with surprise, but also the other cultivators. This is Yaluo Niang. It is said that there are several elixirs in the formula, which are brewed using the unique techniques of Yaluo sect to achieve such a fragrance. On weekdays, only monks with good fortune would come here in Yaluo wine pavilion, but which monk would not invite 7 or 8 companions to drink from a pot and taste it carefully? If you don't bring spiritual stones with you in life, you won't take them with you even if you die. The most painful thing about cultivating immortality is not that you don't have spiritual stones, but that you die without spending all the spiritual stones. Zuyun laughed, stood up, and said, "Fellow Taoists, what are you talking about?" No one responded to him. Suddenly, Zuyun touched his nose awkwardly and sat down. Looks like it was installed in the wrong place. This is the Yasha realm. They don't even have spiritual veins. If the cancer in Yaluo City hadn't been eradicated today, maybe half of the people here wouldn't have come here. Isn't it too high profile for me to be like this? But Zuyun was thinking that in a few days, he would find Luo Yanran so that he could contact Yaluo sect to deal with the demon refining tower together. If he is a nobody, who can believe him? This is one of the reasons why Zuyun was so pretentious. My best wishes, fellow Taoist, don't expose your wealth. Wang Meng also felt something was wrong, and whispered after Zuyun sat down. Zuyun sighed softly and said, "You don't understand." At this time, the female cultivator behind him suddenly said, "It turns out that he is a righteous cultivator, no wonder he has such insights into spiritual stones. I heard that there are countless spiritual veins in the Peepa realm, and every sect has at least one vein, and there is never a shortage of spiritual stones. I wonder what sect this fellow Taoist comes from in the Peepa realm. Are you trying to find out more about me?" Zuyun rolled his eyes, laughed again, and said, "I am not a monk in the Peepa realm, but from the Ya realm. It is a small sect, not worth mentioning, but this thing like Lingxi is nothing to us. You're a bastard, I'll make more money if you don't. It's fate that I can be here in the Yaluo wine pavilion with all of you. Why don't you pay for it today?" Wang Meng was also completely confused when he heard that Zuyun not only called himself Ye, but was also bleeding profusely. But if you think about it carefully, you will realize that Zuyun reveals his wealth without revealing his identity, which can be regarded as a purpose of self-protection. It turns out to be fellow Daoist Ye. The female cultivator stood up from her seat and actually sat at Zuyun's table. When I saw his handsome appearance, my eyes lit up. My surname is Ye, and my given name is only Zi. I come from the 7-star sect of the Ya realm, and I am the young sect master of the 7-star sect. Zuyun said boldly. Fellow Daoist Ye is so heroic, I would like to propose 2 glasses of wine first. 1 cup to Yaluo Kang, and 1 cup to friend Daoist Ye. Another person stood up from a short distance away holding a wine glass. However, what he had in his cup was not Yaluo Niang. Come to think of it, it's not something ordinary people can afford to drink. The man drank 2 cups in a row and turned the cup over to indicate that he was done. Just after he sat down, another person stood up with a laugh and said, "Fellow Daoist Ye, after this cup, there are still 3 cups." After that, the people beside him also stood up, each raised a cup, and gestured to Zuyun from a distance. Zuyun also accepted all the cups generously. After 3 cups, there are still many cups. After the 4 people at this table toasted one by one, another table of cultivators stood up and toasted Zuyun. After only 2 tables toasted, Zuyun's Yaloo brew was empty. When Ye was in Yao realm, he had dealt with the demon cultivators in Yao realm. They have straightforward personalities. Today, I came to Yusha realm, and you all made Ye feel very happy. Zuyun did not expect that the turn of events would make these demon cultivators treat him much better, and he was secretly happy. The best wine is only 100 spirit stones per pot, and I still have hundreds of thousands on me. It's nothing to book the whole place today. He pointed at the stunned waiter not far away and said, "Waiter, serve a pot of Yaloo wine to each guest here." Boom! The whole hall exploded. There are dozens of cultivators here, 1 pot for each person, which must be nearly 10,000 spirit stones. Can the cultivators in Yao realm have so many spirit stones? Even the female cultivators of the Silver Sword Demon sect showed envy. But soon, they each exchanged glances and put away their greed. This time they came to Yaloo City, they still have a mission. But it doesn't prevent them from completing the mission. Zuyun doesn't understand the love between men and women, but he understands the human heart. Although Zuyun didn't look at one of the female cultivators more after she sat at his table. But he knew the purpose of this female cultivator approaching him clearly. Especially, after Wang Meng emphasized the introduction of the Silver Sword Demon sect to him. Zuyun knew one thing very well: if he didn't want to be fooled, he should take care of his crotch. Inside Yaloo sect, Xiu stood in front of the aging sect master. A male Jindan cultivator has reserved the entire Yaloo wine pavilion. The sect master raised his eyes slightly, showing great interest. They can earn at least 90 spirit stones for a pot of Yaloo wine. That's several thousand spirit stones, not to mention the wine, which will definitely require some food and drinks. Yes, sect master, it's absolutely true. This is the news from the shopkeeper. Up to now, the Jindan cultivator has spent 10,250 spirit stones. It seems that the removal of the barrier between the 2 realms is great news for our Yusha realm. After all, we are the closest city to the border between the 2 realms. By the way, Xiu, have you found out where the Jindan cultivator came from? Sect Master, the current valid information is that the cultivator calls himself Yezi, and is the young sect master of the 7 Stars Gate in Yao realm, but according to my guess, this kid has ulterior motives. Oh. The sect master perked up and sat up straight. Xiu said seriously, "Master, the battle between the 2 realms is the battle between the Peepa realm and the Yusha realm. It didn't last long before the battle ended. If a cultivator from the Peepa realm spends money like water here, it's not surprising. But a Yao realm cultivator came to the Yusha realm by coincidence." The master agreed deeply and nodded repeatedly, saying, "Then tell me, what is this kid doing? The Yao realm's spiritual power is not as mellow as that of the Peepa realm." Yanner said that the highest level of the Yao realm is only the Jindan stage. Indeed, you are right. It is extremely abnormal for a Jindan cultivator to dare to come to the Yusha realm, especially at this juncture. Maybe, this kid is coming for our Yaloo demon sect. Xiu hesitated for a moment, thought about it and said, "Master, if this Jindan cultivator really came prepared, would it be for the saint?" "You mean Yanner?" The master's fading eyes suddenly shone with brilliance. "You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills. Author, Banzuan Xianxia. Chapter 713. Judging from the information they knew at this time, it was extremely unlikely that Zuyun could connect with Luo Yanran. But it is true that, as Xiu said, a monk from the Yao realm suddenly appeared in the Yusha realm, which really made people unable to help but speculate about his relationship with Luo Yanran. If Luo Yanran is just an ordinary disciple, then forget it. But when she comes out of seclusion, the sect leader will pass this position to Luo Yanran. The matter is too important to be trivial. Xiu'er, is that kid still there? The sect leader withdrew his gaze and his tone became calm. The news came from the incense stick. I guess that boy was drinking and talking. Okay, the sect leader waved his hand and said, then go ahead and see if you can invite this kid over. It's the sect master. I'll take care of it right away. But speak directly if you have something to say, don't hesitate. Do you want to tell Elder Luo about this? No need, Shu'er's strength has recovered. I think she is very busy at this time, so don't disturb her mind yet. You can just find any elder. Yes, sect master. Xiu'er retreated, and the sect master sat here alone. The sect master's palace was quiet and scary. Zuyun was just as Xiu'er guessed, he spent a lot of money and aroused everyone's carnival. Normally, the Yaluo wine pavilion, which ordinary demon cultivators would not dare to enter, was now packed with guests and friends. Later people did not have the luck to taste Yaluo Nong again. Not that Zuyun opened his mouth, but all the inventory in Yaluo wine pavilion was sold out. Despite this, the monks felt no regrets. The news spread again and again, and almost all the monks in Yaluo city crowded towards the side. It was so huge that the whole street was packed tightly. Even if Xiu'er came here with an elder, he would not be able to enter the restaurant at all. In desperation, they had no choice but to take to the air and enter from the roof. Only the hall was full, and the upper level of the wine pavilion was still empty. Xiu'er looked down at the focus of the crowd. The shopkeeper, Zizuo, stood by him with a smile on his face. Elder Zhu, do you see any clues? After a while, Xiu'er spoke to the elder who came with her. You can't tell. This kid refuses everyone who comes. He drank a lot, but he didn't do anything inappropriate. Can't even you see it? Xiu'er smiled slightly, then pointed at the female cultivators at Zuyun's table and said, where are they? Elder Zhu looked at the situation and couldn't help but change his expression. Is he from the Silver Sword Demon sect? That's right, Xiu'er's face darkened and she said, the relationship between the Silver Sword Demon sect and our sect was quite good, not to mention good friends, but there was no grudge or enmity. But since senior sister Yanran came back, he turned into a monster and said that senior sister Yanran ordered others to kill their people. This matter? Elder Zhu pondered for a moment and said, didn't the sect master mean to blame all the things on the Ya realm monk? After the words fell, Elder Zhu's expression changed again, and he said anxiously, what Xiu'er means is that this Ya realm monk may be. Yes, it's really possible. Xiu'er rubbed her temples and said, the sect master's order is for us to take this kid back to the sect, but if this is the case, it will inevitably make those Silver Sword people suspicious. Although the battle between the two realms is over, after all, the situation is not stable, and there is no way of knowing how things will develop next. In this case, please go to Elder Zhu and tell the sect leader about the situation at this time, and we will make a decision. Okay, Elder Zhu nodded. Xiu'er, you stay here for now until I come back with the news. After saying that, Elder Zhu flashed his body, teleported away from here, and ran towards the sect master's hall. Xiu'er, would you like some wine? The shopkeeper said with a smile on his face after seeing Elder Zhu leave. Liquor. Xiu'er smiled lightly and said, shopkeeper, you also know that I only drink Yaluo Niang, but if there is no wine in your store, what will you give me to drink? The shopkeeper's smile froze and he quickly said, I didn't think well, please forgive me. It doesn't matter, Xiu'er said calmly, you don't need to curry favor with me. Just stay safe and abide by your duties in Yaluo City. What Xiu'er taught me is that I was the one who was rude. The shopkeeper finally breathed a sigh of relief, and the atmosphere in the hall was already extremely lively. Several female cultivators from the Silver Sword Demon sect kept making eye contact in the chaotic crowd, but they didn't know that all this had entered Xiu'er's eyes. Some demon cultivators who were too drunk had already drunk themselves unconscious due to excitement. But they couldn't fall down at all. Because there were so many people that there was no room to lie down. You said people from the Silver Sword Demon sect are in Yoluo Wine Pavilion. The sect leader was a little surprised when he heard the news. Yes, sect master, if Xiu'er hadn't reminded me, the disciples wouldn't have noticed. Elder Zhu bowed and replied. Xiu'er cultivates the Yoluo eye, so she can't be mistaken. Since the Silver Sword Demon sect has come, they don't come directly to our section. What does this mean? The sect master thought for a moment and said, then invite them all over. Master, is this inappropriate? Our Yoluo sect is all about evidence, but the Silver Sword Demon sect is not. If that kid is not the one who did it, wouldn't this be harmful to him? Elder Zhu was a little surprised. You still don't trust me when I do things. If he wasn't, I wouldn't let the Silver Sword Demon sect do whatever it wants. Although I don't have much time left, I can fight that old witch of the Silver Sword Demon sect before I die, so I can die without regrets. Elder Zhu said anxiously, Master, you can definitely find a way to increase your lifespan. You don't have to make enemies with that old witch for a Jindan cultivator. Whether it's necessary or not, I know it myself. You should do the good thing first. Go. The sect leader issued an order to expel him, and Elder Zhu had no choice but to retreat and quickly rush to the wine pavilion. What did the sect leader say? Seeing that Elder Zhu looked unhappy, Xiu'er also asked hurriedly. The sect master said, take them back together. Why would the sect master make this decision? Xiu'er frowned, but she knew that Elder Zhu would not lie to her, so she had to say, okay, let's see what the sect master says. As Xiu'er's voice fell, Elder Zhu moved instantly. She flicked her sleeves, and several black demonic auras surged out of them, rushing towards Zuyun and others below. If Zuyun looked up, he would definitely be shocked. Because this is exactly the same as Menghui's method. But what realm is Elder Zhu? The peak of the late nascent soul. Before Zuyun could react, he was shrouded in black aura, wrapped tightly. Not good, someone is attacking. Zuyun was shocked, and subconsciously took out the chaos sword to cut the demonic aura. But the female cultivator sitting next to him suddenly jumped up. It's Elder Zhu, long time no see. Zuyun couldn't see, only heard his voice. From the voice, it can be heard that the one who attacked was the elder of Yoluo Demon sect. Why would such a big shot attack me? Did he find out that I was pretending to be a dong? But a dong is dead, and Ding Zhen behind him was also punished and demoted to immortal. Just when Zuyun was puzzled, the demonic energy in the hall became even stronger. I was wondering who it was, it turned out to be you. Elder Zhu waved her hand calmly, and the black demonic energy formed a shield in front of her, directly blocking the sword of the female cultivator. Clang. With a crisp sound, no one could do anything to anyone. It's rare for you to visit, why didn't you inform our demon sect so that we could greet you in person? If the sect master hadn't discovered it, we would still be kept in the dark. Elder Zhu said calmly. Oh. The female cultivator put away her sword and placed it at her side, saying, Master, you is so polite. Ha ha ha, our Yoluo city is hospitable. As long as you follow the rules, we welcome cultivators from anywhere. Guests are welcome. The master has personally ordered this elder to take you into the sect. Please. Elder Zhu turned sideways and made a gesture of invitation, indicating that they should leave directly from the rooftop window. The female cultivator's expression changed, but she nodded quickly. The Yoluo demon sect really wouldn't do anything behind the scenes. Their master is just like this, so there's nothing to be afraid of. Then I'll trouble Elder Zhu to lead the way. The female cultivator said politely, and the other three also flew up. Seeing this, Elder Zhu also took back the demonic energy, but she didn't remove the demonic energy on Zuyun. On the contrary, she pinched a spell, and Zuyun flew up out of thin air and followed. Elder Zhu, you can just invite us, but why did you bring this Jindan stage? The female cultivator's eyes flashed with brilliance, and she felt a little angry. This was the prey they had set their eyes on. If he was brought into the Yologo demon sect, how could they take him? This kid spent tens of thousands of spirit stones here, so he can be considered a distinguished guest of our Yologo demon sect. The sect master said that he wanted to meet him in person. After that, Elder Zhu didn't want to say more, and took everyone to fly towards the Yologo demon sect. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills. Author, Banzuan Xianxia. Chapter 714. Silent all the way, a group of people fell straight into the main hall of Yologo demon sect. Yologo Wine Pavilion is located near the center of the city, so it is not too far from the sect. But for Zuyun, it seemed like hundreds of years had passed, and it was extremely painful. He was torn between taking action and not taking action countless times. But when he thought that the female cultivator was actually in the nascent soul stage, he couldn't help but endure it again. This is something he has never discovered. Sword cultivators are indeed extraordinary. Fortunately, I didn't approach them intentionally. Zuyun sighed in his heart and found that his body had stopped. Being in the black air, he could do nothing except hear the sounds, let alone use the void-breaking spiritual eye technique. Even Feng'an and this old guy can see it, but maybe others can also recognize it. What Zuyun didn't expect was that the black energy on his body would quickly fade away as soon as he landed. The light that appeared in front of him made him feel a little uncomfortable. He subconsciously put his palm in front of his eyes, and through his fingers, he saw a haggard old woman on the first seat, who must be the master of Yologo demon sect. Sure enough, the next moment, several people from the Silver Sword demon sect said in unison, "I've met sect leader Yu." The nascent soul stage female cultivator just bowed, but the other three people knelt on the ground. It must be related to the realm. Zuyun was wondering whether he should kneel down when he heard the sect master speak. "Xiu'er, take this guest down first so that he can settle down." "Guest?" Zuyun was stunned for a moment. "Are you so polite? It seems that they didn't find me because of Adong's incident." She breathed a sigh of relief. Xiu'er had already walked in front of her. Li Duo smiled slightly, and Zuyun looked a little distracted. "So beautiful. Fellow Taoist, please come this way." Xiu'er didn't seem surprised and said with a chuckle, "Ah, oh, good." Zuyun quickly regained his composure, but he was also a little at a loss and made a huge blush. Xiu'er covered her mouth and felt it was funny. Zuyun was so heroic in Yologo Wine Pavilion, but he was so shy in front of her. What an interesting person. After walking out of the door, Xiu'er smiled and said, "Fellow Daoist, yeah, you spent a lot of money at Yologo Wine Pavilion," but it opened Xiu'er's eyes. "Dare I ask, are all righteous monks so generous?" "Ah, this." Zuyun felt that Xiu'er's gaze seemed to see through him, and he did not dare to raise his head to look at her. With surprise in his heart, he said the words he had already thought of when he came on the way. "Fairy Xiu'er, it's not that Ye is rich, it's just that, spiritual stones are too valuable in the Yasha realm." "That's true," Xiu'er thought deeply and said, "without spiritual veins in the Yasha realm, it is naturally impossible to produce spiritual stones. But fellow Daoist, yeah, why did you come here from the Ya realm thousands of miles away?" Zuyun's heart tightened. He was beginning to inquire for information. "Fortunately, I was prepared." However, he still did not dare to raise his head, for fear that his little trick would be seen through, so he turned his gaze to the distance and said, "Originally, I just traveled between Peepa realm and Ya realm, doing small business to earn this spiritual stone to support my family. But who can I once thought that after hearing about the war between the two realms, I wondered if I could go there and make a little fortune. However, I never thought that the war did not start, but the barrier between the two realms was gone. Yusha realm. I didn't expect that Yologo city would treat us and other righteous monks equally, and the spirit stones would be so precious. It only takes 100 spirit stones for a pot of Yologo brewing. Such vanity makes the fairy laugh. Fellow deist, yet is interesting. You know, with 10,000 spiritual stones in Yologo city, you can do a lot of things. Zuyun gradually entered the state, deliberately sighed softly, and said, Fairy Shiur, 10,000 spirit stones in the Ya realm, or even the Peepa realm, are sometimes only enough to buy one pill. I have heard of this. Shiur nodded and said, however, there are many elixirs in the Yasha realm, many of which we demon cultivators cannot use, but they are extremely beneficial to you righteous monks. Now that the obstruction has been removed, we, the ghost cultivator, Luokeng also has a large open door, and all monks are welcome to come in openly. Maybe you business monks can make a small fortune? It seems that Fairy Shiur also knows the benefits of removing obstacles. Zuyun and Shiur walked casually, without squinting, and said, both realms are human beings. Whether they are the demonic path or the righteous path, it is just that the cultivation techniques are different. Now they can completely communicate with each other. If the two realms are good and evil in the future, living in harmony, this move in Yologo city is the beginning of the prosperity of the human race. He unceremoniously put the hat on the Yologo demon sect. He is not stupid. A female cultivator in the alchemy stage can walk freely in the sect master's palace, so she must have a high status. Perhaps, through Shiur, he could slowly spread his thoughts to Yologo sect. What's more, the handling of Adong's matter through Yologo city is enough to show that the people in power in Yologo city are different, and they coincide with their deepest thoughts. Therefore, he needs to show his favor to Yologo demon sect. Fellow deist, yeah, when we met, you flattered our Yologo demon section. Is it possible that you have any thoughts about our Yologo demon sect? Shiur asked with a faint smile. I don't dare, I don't dare. If I get too close to Yologo demon sect, and if a monk from the Ya realm discovers me, I'm afraid I won't have a foothold after I go back. Zuyun pretended to be flustered and waved his hands and said, but in fact he was testing Shiur's attitude. The big deal, don't you go back. Shiur laughed and said, fellow deist, ya may not be a big shot in Ya realm, but in Yologo city, with that wealth alone, he must be a wealthy man. The bride price for disciples of our Yologo demon sect is very cheap. If it doesn't work out, just be a son-in-law of our Yologo demon sect, that's not a bad idea. Hearing this, Zuyun's face turned green even though he knew it was a joke. He didn't know what the status of a son-in-law was in the world of cultivating immortals. But in the mortal world, people who marry into the family will be ridiculed for their ancestors. This concept is a bit old-fashioned, and even Zuyun can't escape it. Fellow deist, yeah, what does your expression mean? Could it be that you look down on our disciples of the Yologo demon sect? As they were talking, the two had already walked to a courtyard. Shiur pointed at the gate and said, it just so happens that there is an inner sect disciple who has just returned from this courtyard. Her appearance is also the best choice. Judging from her age, she is also about the same age as fellow deist yet. Why don't you meet her? Zuyun didn't know whether Shiur was joking or not, but he knew that he was very confused at this moment. The main reason was that Zuyun couldn't help but think of Menguia. Is she also a disciple of the Yologo sect? Although she is not from the main sect of the demon sect, she is still Luo Yanran's only disciple. If there hadn't been an accident, Luo Yanran would have brought Menguia back here. With Menguia's talent, maybe he could also enter the inner sect, right? Fellow deist, yeah, if you don't say anything, I will take it as your consent. Shiur chuckled and knocked on the door. It seemed casual, but in fact, She had her own secret code. Sure enough, a voice came from the courtyard. "Xiu'er, is that you?" "It's me," Xiu'er said in a delicate voice. "The sect master asked me to take a guest around. I thought this courtyard was the only one in the sect with beautiful scenery, so I brought him here to have a look." "Xiu'er, you've said this, I can't refuse. Come in." As the voice fell, the courtyard door opened. Zuyun looked around and saw a small garden. Following the winding stone road in front of him to the end, there was a small pavilion. In the pavilion, a female cultivator of the nascent soul had her back to them. "Fellow deist, yeah, please." Elder Lugo's courtyard was carefully decorated by her for hundreds of years, with pavilions, towers, flowers, birds and waterside pavilions. At this point, Xiu'er lowered her voice and whispered to Zuyun's ear, "The most important thing is that she has a disciple. Although she comes from a poor family, she is beautiful and talented." After that, Xiu'er looked at Zuyun with a dazed face and giggled first. But she had no idea why Zuyun was stunned. He heard the three words Elder Lugo. That back figure, if nothing unexpected happened, was the master of Lugo Yanran and Wangshu. If he ran into Wangshu and she called him Daizu, wouldn't he be in trouble? Thinking of this, Zuyun could only bite the bullet and follow Xiu'er into the courtyard. He had only one thought in his mind. If you want to get involved, you still have to use an alias. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills. Author, Banzwan Xianxia. Chapter 715. Zuyun is afraid of whatever he wants. Not far from the pavilion, he saw a familiar figure. It was Wangshu. But what makes Zuyun happy is that Wangshu seems to be practicing at this time. She is surrounded by black energy, and she is naturally practicing the techniques of Yalugo demon sect. "Fellow deist, yeah, you have such a good eye. As soon as you come here, you will know where Elder Lugo's disciples are practicing." Xiu'er teased intentionally or unintentionally, making Zuyun blush, and said quickly, "Fairy Xiu'er misunderstood. Yeah, saw that Senior Lugo's courtyard here was like a fairyland, so he took a few more glances and happened to see it. That fairy is practicing." Xiu'er had a smile in her eyes, but she said to Shulingran, "Elder Lugo, this is the sect master's guest and a monk from the Yao realm." Hearing this, Lugo Shuling's eyes suddenly flashed with light, and she stared at Zuyun. Zuyun was so perceptive that he subconsciously took a step back. Who would have thought that Xiu'er blocked his retreat in advance and said with a sweet smile, "Elder Lugo, don't scare our guests." Lugo Shuling's expression relaxed instantly and she said with a smile, "Little guy, what sect are you from the Yao realm?" "I have a disciple who just came back from the Yao realm." Zuyun hurriedly said, "Back to the seniors, the juniors are from the 7 Stars Gate of the Yao realm. They make a living by refining alchemy, making utensils, drawing talismans, brewing wine, planting medicines, setting up formations, and running around." "Oh." Lugo Shuling raised her eyebrows and said, "You're not old, but you're very capable." Xiu'er helped from the side and said, "Elder Lugo, fellow deist, yes, spent a lot of money on Yalugo wine pavilion. In just half an hour, he spent more than 20,000 spirit stones. This ability is indeed not small." Hearing these words made Zuyun's hair stand on end. He still didn't understand that Xiu'er was revealing his true nature. Knowing so clearly, "I guess I have been targeted a long time ago." No wonder he was taken directly to Yalugo demon sect. Although he wanted to contact the Yalugo demon sect, he had never thought of using this method. If the Yalugo demon sect becomes greedy, then Wangshu. Can you save yourself? Thinking of this, Zuyun couldn't help but look towards Wangshu. Just as the black energy on Wangshu's body slowly retracted from his body, it was obvious that the practice was about to end. What to do? Countless thoughts flashed through Zuyun's mind, but in the end there were only 2 left. One is to bite the bullet and wait for Wang Shu to wake up to see if her reputation is big enough. The other one is to run away now. But as long as he runs away now, he will be in trouble if he tries to sneak into the Yoluo demon sect. If you don't seek wealth, you can only wait for Wang Shu. In the midst of the lightning and flint, Zhu Yun made this decision. He raised his head and said with a smile, "Senior, you are so complimentary. You can earn spiritual stones. It's not cold. Your ability to earn spiritual stones impresses even this elder. You can spend tens of thousands of spiritual stones with just a few moves. I think you can make money faster than this, right?" Luo Shuling's tone was calm, but it made Zhu Yun feel that this was the calm before the storm. If he's not careful, the wind will pick up. Maybe if he tries to run away, it will be too late. He couldn't help shouting in his heart, "Sister Wang, wake up quickly." But there was no way. He couldn't control Wang Shu, so he could only smile and say, "Senior Luo is just laughing." In the Peeper realm, the most worthless thing is the spirit stone, which is all over the street. We little guys, if our small sect wants to survive, we have to do our best, otherwise how can we, the younger generation, dare to come to Yusha realm? At this moment, Wang Shu finally opened his eyes quietly, and when he heard a familiar voice, he immediately looked towards Zhu Yun. Zhu Yun had made up his mind and was paying attention to Wang Shu's condition all the time. When he saw her waking up, he didn't care too much and said loudly, "Sister Wang, I didn't expect you to be here, but let ya worried to death." "Wish." Wang Shu's face burst into joy. He didn't expect Zhu Yun to be here. Just when he was about to say hello, he suddenly heard Zhu Yun calling himself Ye. She was extremely smart, so she reacted immediately and immediately changed her words, "I wish fellow Taoist Ye a smooth journey to immortality. I didn't expect to meet you here." In order to ask Luo Shuling to help Zhu Yun, Wang Shu mentioned his name, but Luo Shuling's reaction not only disappointed her, but also made her feel guilty and felt sorry for Zhu Yun. As for being able to see Zhu Yun here, although she didn't understand the reason, she could tell from Zhu Yun's performance that it seemed that the master didn't know Zhu Yun's true identity yet. Zhu Yun secretly wiped the cold sweat in his heart and thought to himself that Wang Shu's reaction was really fast, and he immediately said, "I also wish the Wang family sister a smooth journey. By the way, is your injury healed? Your brother is worried about you." Wang Shu understood and said, "I recovered from my injury. I met a noble man. I helped him with some things and gave me 10,000 spiritual stones. Why did you come to my master's courtyard?" Seeing the two people chatting like no one else around, Xiu and Luo Shuling were both a little confused. Originally, they all wanted to test Zhu Yun's background, but they didn't expect it to end up like this. Luo Shuling narrowed her eyes and cleared her throat, "Ahem, Shuer, do you know this little guy?" Wang Shu immediately said, "Master, when this fellow Taoist Ye first entered the city, he asked my brother to be the guide. I have been at home these 2 days, and fellow Taoist Ye has helped a lot. 10,000 spirit stones is a taboo." Wang Shu is helping Zhu Yun clear up the relationship. "So that's it." Luo Shuling was doubtful, but she stopped asking. Xiu smiled and said, "Junior sister Wang, how many spiritual stones can your brother earn in a day as a guide?" After Wang Shu was seriously injured at that time, Wang Meng took her back and said that he was earning spiritual stones to help her heal her injuries. The entire Yoluo sect knew about this. "I don't know about this, I have to ask fellow Daoist yet." Wang Shu pretended not to know and asked Zhu Yun to speak. In fact, it was to allow the two of them to collude in confession and avoid any surprises later. At most, he would be punished a little, but Zhu Yun's words. "But it's a matter of life and death. 10 spiritual stones a day," Zhu Yun scratched his head and said. Wang Meng set the price himself at that time. "Later, I thought the price might be a bit low, so I took Daoist Wang to drink." Xiu thought for a moment, and no wonder she felt that the Jidankai who was at the same table as Zuyun looked a bit familiar. It turned out to be Wang Meng. For a while, the doubts in my heart subsided a little. It seemed that this monk had nothing to do with Luo Yanran, so he winked at Luo Shuling. Since you know Shu'er, you don't need to be restrained. Just treat this place as your own home. Luo Shuling also felt relieved and said to Wang Shu, Shu'er, take Xiao for a walk in the courtyard. Master and Shu'er still have something to discuss. After saying that, Luo Shuling took Shu'er and walked towards the other side. After a while, the footsteps disappeared, and the two of them were relieved and breathed a long sigh of relief. Friend Zhu, how come you changed your surname to Ye? Wang Shu jumped up and down, walked up to Zuyun and asked with a smile. Aren't you forced? But it scared me. Zuyun curled his lips and said, don't let it slip again. It's a long story. Your brother and I were drinking at Yaluo Wine Pavilion and met a female cultivator from the Silver Sword Demon sect, so I used pseudonym, who knows, Shi'ur brought some elder Zhu to bring me to the sect. Silver Sword Demon sect. Wang Shu's expression changed and he immediately asked, where are those people? Before Shi'ur brought me here, they were still in the sect master's hall, but now I don't know where they have gone. Zuyun shook his head and he calmed down. How could he have time to think so much? It seems that the people from the Silver Sword Demon sect must be here to deal with senior sister Luo. Wang Shu frowned, looked away, thought for a moment, and said, Friend Zhu, from what I see, it will be safer for you to stay in the demon sect for the time being. However, you must never mention senior sister Luo's matter. Why? Zuyun guessed in his heart that Wang Shu must have failed to get things done. Sure enough, when Zuyun asked, Wang Shu said with a sad face, fellow Taoist Zhu, I don't know what kind of medicine my master took. When I told her what I said, she almost put me in solitary confinement, but at that time, in order to save you, it will be better if you stay here and wait for senior sister Luo to come out of seclusion. I will take you to see her in person. Zuyun's heart tightened again, but he also figured out why Luo Shuling didn't want to see him in the first place. Even now, he could feel that Xiu'er's behavior seemed to be deliberately testing him. Sure, when Luo Yanran comes out of seclusion, you must take me to see her. It's a very important matter. Zuyun sat casually on the stone bench in the pavilion, but before his butt got hot, there was a sudden loud noise in the distance. Boom! Demonic energy surged around, natural phenomena occurred, and countless black clouds turned into black pythons, falling from the sky. Zuyun seemed to be sitting on a self-destruction array, so he stood up in shock. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills. Author, Banzuan Xianxia. Chapter 716. What's this? Zuyun's first reaction was whether the female cultivators from the Silver Sword Demon sect had taken action. But when I thought about it again, this was simply impossible to happen. With the strength of the Yaluo Demon sect, they only have one nascent soul and 3 pills. How dare they do this? It's like plucking the hair from a tigress' butt. But if it wasn't them, then what? Just when Zuyun was shocked, Wang Shu next to him said in surprise, Wish, fellow Daoist, yeah, senior sister Luo is out of seclusion. Escape. Zuyun was stunned for a moment, then couldn't help but said, No, you have to have such a big battle just to get out of the barrier? Isn't the arrogance of your Yaluo demon sect a bit too big? Fellow Daoist, yeah, you. Wang Shu glanced at Zuyun in surprise, and wanted to say something that you were too ignorant of, but when the words came to his lips, he swallowed them back and said, This is senior sister Luo's success in conceiving a baby. Made me a baby. Suddenly, Zuyun's eyes widened. Isn't that right? In just a few months, Luo Yanran could have a baby? When we met outside Shiwanda Mountain, she seemed to be in the middle stage of forming pills. At this speed of cultivation, even Zhu Feng and himself would be defeated. Yes, we have a baby. Wang Shu said with certainty, this is the vision when we are practicing our Yaluo demonic skill and conceiving a baby. How could I be wrong? That's not what I meant, Zuyun explained. I mean, how did you, senior sister Luo, successfully conceive a baby from the middle stage of pill formation? Wang Shu understood now and explained, fellow deist, yeah, when senior sister Luo came back, she used someone else's body, so she was restricted by her realm. That's why Master helped her reshape her body and spent all his wealth. In exchange for some top-quality elixirs, I was able to bring senior sister Luo back to the peak of the pill formation stage, and then she went into seclusion to break through, but I didn't expect it to happen today. But what? Zuyun asked hurriedly about Luo Yanran. But it's just for senior sister Luo that Master can't give me 10,000 spirit stones. After saying this, Wang Shu looked a little lonely. Zuyun was stunned, then comforted him, Sister Wang, don't think too much, aren't you feeling better now? Wang Shuqiang laughed, but nodded heavily, well, I know, all this is because of meeting a noble person. She deliberately bit the nobleman harder. Zuyun touched his head and said with a smile, on the journey of cultivating immortality, be sure not to mess up your Taoist mind. It will be bad if you go too far. Wang Shu covered his mouth and his big eyes curved into crescent moons. In your righteous eyes, we are witches, so how can we become possessed? After hearing this, Zuyun shook his head and said seriously, Sister Wang, in my eyes, there is no distinction between good and evil cultivators. Especially after I came to Yasha realm, I found that evil cultivators are actually better than righteous cultivators. More accessible. Oh. Wang Shu was a little surprised. Zhu Yongxiao asked, will you harm me? How is that possible? Wang Shu blurted out, shook his head like a rattle, and said loudly, without you, I, Wang Shu, might be a useless person. Although Master has told us that to cultivate immortality, we must be willing to pay grudges, but we must also be kind. Repay kindness and take revenge. That's it, Zuyun sighed and said, do you know how many scenes of revenge I have seen since I was a mortal cultivator? One moment we were chatting and laughing, and the next moment we were drawing swords against each other. That's why I have such thoughts. Wang Shu didn't believe it and said in surprise, I heard Master said that monks in the Pipa realm are hypocrites, selfish, and always scheming against each other. They say seeing is believing, but I have never been to Pipa. I don't know the truth. Zuyun sighed and said quietly, sometimes, what you see may not be what you believe. Wang Shu was thoughtful, carefully chewing on the meaning of Zuyun's words, but at this moment, a black shadow suddenly flew up in the direction of the sect master's hall. The black shadow is extremely fast. If you look closely, it turns out to be a sword energy. The sword energy was extremely powerful, and it went straight towards the strange phenomenon in the air. Be bold. Almost at the same time, a loud shout resounded throughout the sky, and most of the sword energy was immediately shaken away. But the castration has not slowed down. It's the sect leader. Wang Shu exclaimed, and a beautiful figure chased the sword energy at a faster speed. Metropolitan. Zuyun's face looked strange. If I remember correctly, shouldn't the leader of Yaluo demon sect be an old woman? But looking at it now, this figure, this posture. He couldn't even imagine it. It's the sect master. Wang Shu's face became solemn as he said, the sect master's lifespan is short, so he usually restrains his spiritual power and reduces consumption as much as possible, so that his lifespan can last as long as possible. But that sword energy wants to, if the vision of destroying senior sister Luo comes true, even if senior sister Luo successfully conceives a baby, her strength will be greatly damaged. Zhu Yun's eyes narrowed. How brave are the people of the Silver Sword Demon sect? Isn't the female cultivator afraid that she will die here? Just when the sword energy was about to kill those black giant pythons, the sect leader finally caught up. She kept dancing with her hands, and black energy kept shooting out, wrapping around the sword energy, trying to slow down the sword energy. You dare! But what everyone didn't expect was that the sword energy actually had a backup plan. It split into 3 parts at the last moment and shot in 3 directions. Ha ha ha, Sect Master, you probably didn't expect that I would return 3 points to the sword energy, right? You Luo Yanran dared to instruct outsiders to kill members of my Silver Sword Demon sect, so naturally I, the Silver Sword Demon sect, dared to destroy you. Luo Mo sect's hope for the future. The female cultivator looked so crazy that she ignored the fact that more than 10 elders were floating in the sky above Yaluo Demon sect, and rushed into the sky alone, laughing loudly. Kill her! Luo Shuling shouted loudly, and the magic tricks in her hands continued. Her fingers were like a butterfly piercing flowers, and every time she danced, a stream of black energy would shoot out. At the same time, the other elders also moved. This is a provocation to Yaluo Demon sect. Fortunately, I also saved a few tricks, otherwise this place would really be damaged. The female cultivator's face was full of disdain, and her body gradually turned into a shadow. One sword clone technique. This is her incarnation. Luo Shuling screamed in shock and anger. Even if she was killed, the opponent would only break a sword, but the main body would still be intact. When had their Yaluo Demon sect ever suffered such a big loss? Facing the endless demonic energy coming from all directions, the female cultivator was not afraid at all. She looked at Sect Master Yu and spit out a mouthful of blood with a joking look on her face. In an instant, Sect Master Yu's delicate face aged and withered. She lost her color and elasticity, and turned into a withered old woman again, and her face was even much uglier than before. Tisk, 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 Sect Master Yu, it seems that you have suffered a big loss this time. Even if you can save Luo Yanran, your lifespan will be greatly reduced if you use blood essence. When the female cultivator finished speaking these words, the demonic energy of the elders finally engulfed her. The shadow was annihilated, and metal fragments fell from the sky. The sword incarnation technique is a technique through which this female cultivator turns the sword into a clone. The clone has been destroyed. No matter how strong the sword is, it will naturally be unable to block such a powerful attack. Boom! At the cost of consuming his lifespan, sect leader Yu used his blood and essence to blast the 3 sword energies into pieces. But she also ran out of gas and fell straight from the sky. The vision remains. But her eyes have lost their luster. Master! 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 All the elders, without caring about others, rushed over one after another. Birth, old age, illness, and death are human nature. Disciples, there is no need to be sad. There are many monks in the world, and there are countless more who died earlier than me. Although my master died, Yanner was able to survive, which is enough for us to Luo Mo sect stands proudly in the Yasha realm. After saying this, Sect Master Yu closed his eyes. She is not dead yet. It's just that death is not far away. The deadline was approaching, and all the elders in the late nascent soul stage started crying. Not far away. Zuyun looked at this scene. My heart was touched. Sect Master, she. Wang Shu, who was beside him, covered his mouth with tears streaming down his face. He didn't even notice that Zuyun quietly retreated to the corner of the pavilion. After a while, he held the porcelain bottle in his hand, and after a few lightning escape techniques, he suddenly squeezed into the crowd of nascent soul elders. Who is it? Looking for death. Almost at the same time, the coercion of countless Dao Yuanying suddenly fell on Zuyun. Xiao. Luo Shuling frowned, and the elders were slightly stunned when they saw that Luo Shuling actually knew her. The moment Zhu Yun appeared, their first reaction was that the other three remaining Dan formation stages of the Silver Sword Demon sect wanted to make a sneak attack. Senior Luo, seniors, I have the longevity pill. Zhu Yun struggled to say this. Suddenly, all nascent souls were stunned. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills. Author, Banzuan Xianxia. Chapter 717. Little guy, your business is quite big. At this time, Sect Master Yu, who was lying on the ground, slowly opened his eyes and actually started joking. Zhu Yun was surprised, but also extremely impressed. The moment she was willing to die to protect Luo Yanran, Zhu Yun knew that the Yaluo demon sect was truly upright. Xiao, are you telling the truth? Luo Shuling then discovered that Zhu Yun was holding a porcelain vase in his hand. Xiao Yuan Dan, is it in there? But the problem is that their master has already taken too many longevity pills. She has already developed resistance to the drug, and if she eats the same kind again, she may die faster. After the joy, everyone's faces became ugly again. Elder Zhu said meaningfully, little guy, do you know what kind of longevity elixir our master needs? Zhu Yun shook his head and said, this junior doesn't know. But this junior knows that the senior sect leader is approaching her longevity, and now there is no medicine except the longevity pill to prolong her life. Little guy, you can see clearly, you all get out of the way. Today, as my teacher, I will treat you like a dead horse. Zhu Yun wanted to laugh when he heard Sect Master Yu compare himself to a dead horse. But on such an occasion, how could he dare to laugh? Senior, I'm offended. After Sect Leader Yu spoke, all the pressure on Zhu Yun dissipated. Zhu Yun squatted down and flicked the bottle cork with his thumb. A clear medicinal fragrance followed. Huh! Which longevity medicine is this made from? The fragrance of this medicine seems to have added 2 years to my lifespan. Hiss, just the fragrance of the medicine has such a terrifying effect. This longevity medicine. After hearing the reactions of these people, Zhu Yun knew that sect leader Yu was saved. If so, then he is a great benefactor to Yaluo demon sect. He was overjoyed, and the reason why he risked his life to squeeze in was for this reason. Senior, it seems to be effective, take it quickly. Zhu Yun only has this longevity pill left, but Sect Master Yu has never taken it, so it can at least increase his longevity by 500 years. Little guy, not bad, not bad. Sect leader Yu was also extremely surprised. Knowing that he didn't have to die, he didn't save any energy. After praising a few times, he put his mouth to the porcelain bottle. After the elixir entered his abdomen, the pure vitality transformed from the chaos power of the purple UN grass began to spread out within the body of sect leader Yu. After a while, the wrinkles on sect leader Yu's face slowly receded. If just now she was an old woman who was about to die of old age and whose wrinkles could catch mosquitoes and flies, now, she looked more like a mortal mother-in-law who was over 80 years old. But in the blink of an eye, the strong vitality made her retreat to the age of 60. 40 years old. 30 years old. 25 years old. All the nascent souls looked at him in disbelief, surprised and delighted. It wasn't until Sect Master Yu turned into a girl of 20 years of age that he stopped. Little guy, Yu Tangzi, owe you a huge debt of gratitude. As soon as he spoke, Yu Tangzi stood up and looked at Zhu Yun with a smile. She didn't talk about Yaluo demon sect, but talked about herself. In fact, she was still somewhat worried that Zhu Yun was from the Ya realm, and she was asking for repayment for her kindness. But when Zhu Yun was sure that he could save Yu Tangzi, he had already decided that it was time to confess his true identity. Thinking about it, with Yu Tangzi's support, if Luo Shuling doesn't want to see him anymore, there will definitely be no problem of saving her life. Senior you, I didn't save you for any reason. It's because I, and Senior Luo are old acquaintances. Zuyun clasped his hands into fists and bowed slightly. Is she an old acquaintance of mine? On the side, Luo Shuling pointed to her nose with a blank look on her face, thinking that I have been in nascent soul for hundreds of years. How could I know a young boy like you, let alone come from Yao realm? Wait, that's not right? Luo Shuling's heart suddenly trembled when she heard Zuyun had spoken. Senior Luo misunderstood. The Senior Luo that this junior refers to Senior Luo Yanran. When this junior was wandering around in the Yao realm, Luo Yanran was already in the realm of pill formation. Not to mention, she is about to break through Dan Chengying. You deserve to be called senior. Zuyun was neither humble nor arrogant, and his posture was extremely low. After all, the worst here is also the late nascent soul stage. The weird looks on the faces of the elders finally faded away, but they still felt a little weird. Ha ha ha, it turns out it's you. Yu Tangzi laughed loudly and said, when Yanner came back, she said that she met a good-hearted and unusual junior in the Yao realm. He not only rescued her from the predicament, but also later helped her kill someone with bad intentions. The female cultivators of the Silver Sword Demon sect. At that time, the sect leader was still thinking, could it be that Yanner took a fancy to that cultivator? Speaking of this, Yu Tangzi glanced at Luo Shuling with a half-smile. Everyone knew that Zuyun called Luo Yanran Senior Luo, and their previous guesses were completely misunderstood. So naturally, there would be a silent embarrassment towards Zuyun. Fortunately, Zuyun lowered his head slightly at this time and did not notice it. Seniors, my junior's actual surname is Zhu. I met a female cultivator from the Silver Sword Demon sect in Yaluo Wine Pavilion, so I had to change my name. Seniors, please forgive me. Humph, Luo Shuling snorted coldly and said, sure enough, all the righteous monks are liars. I was wondering before, why Shu'er had to say I wish fellow deist Ya a smooth journey to immortality when he met you. Good on you. This guy has led my two disciples astray. Everyone laughed, and at this time, Wang Shu also found that something seemed wrong. Why are you laughing so happily when the sect master is about to die? And Zuyun appeared among them at some point, so she didn't care too much and rushed over while wiping her tears. Wang Junior sister, are you here to wish fellow deist Ya a smooth immortal journey? Xiu'er, who had been silent all the time, finally got her turn to speak. Wang Shu suddenly stopped, her face full of astonishment. Everyone couldn't help laughing again, and she realized that it seemed that Zuyun had solved this trouble. She was also relieved in her heart, lowered her head and kept fiddling with the corners of her clothes, not knowing how to respond. Okay, you old witches who are hundreds or thousands of years old, stop teasing Shu'er, Yu Tangzi interrupted everyone with a smile, saying, look at this strange phenomenon, it's almost over. Yanner should also break through the nascent soul stage. Hearing this, everyone was shocked and looked forward to the slowly dispersing strange phenomenon. At this time, the Silver Sword Demon sect. A female cultivator suddenly sat up from the bed. After slowly coming back to her senses, she laughed like crazy. Until several people broke into the house. Third junior sister, your incarnation is destroyed. The one who spoke was a female sword cultivator at the peak of the late nascent soul stage. Every word she spoke revealed boundless sword energy. Big sister, there is good news and bad news, which one do you want to hear? The female cultivator put away her smile and said expressionlessly. Big sister frowned and said, let's talk about the bad news first. The bad news is, our Silver Sword Demon sect is going to lose 3 more female Jindan disciples. Several female cultivators' expressions suddenly tightened. Big sister continued to ask, what about the good news? Good news, ha ha ha, the good news is that Yu Tangzi, that bitch, is going to die soon. Ha ha ha, ha ha ha. The female cultivator laughed wildly again, laughing until she was about to suffocate. The eldest sister was also overjoyed. She stepped forward and grabbed her shoulders. What did you say? Xianxia, in order to stop me from destroying Luo Yanran's vision of forming a baby, she used up her remaining lifespan to stop my Sanfengyi sword energy. Before my incarnation was destroyed, I saw her fall to the ground. She couldn't even keep her body steady. Even if she didn't die, she was almost dead. Great, great. Junior sister, you have done a great job. Let's go and meet the master and tell her the good news. The eldest sister pulled her up, and with 2 fingers on her empty hand, she turned into a pure silver sword. And the third junior sister stood on the sword, 1 person and 1 sword, and disappeared without a trace in the blink of an eye. The eldest sister has reached the highest realm of unity between man and sword. Yes, she is the sword, and the sword is her. I wonder when we can cultivate to this realm. Second sister should be almost there, right? As they spoke, the others looked at the female cultivator who had never spoken in the room. Disperse, if you want to reach a higher realm, go and practice, don't talk about other right and wrong here. The second sister looked cold, and everyone was silent and retreated. At this time, the master's hall of the Silver Sword Demon sect was empty. There was only a silver snake sword standing quietly on the first seat. This sword was the master of the Silver Sword Demon sect, Silver Snake Sword Master. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills. Author, Banzuan Xianxia. Chapter 718. Xianxia is seriously injured. I saw a sharp sound coming from the silver snake demonic sword, and then the sword energy around the body twisted and continued to gather towards the silver snake demonic sword. A moment later, the silver snake demon sword suddenly transformed into a female swordsman dressed in silver and with silver hair. It is the silver snake sword lord. Her swordsmanship has reached the state of transformation, and she has cultivated to the point where people are swords and swords are people. Ha ha ha, let me know. In 1 month, all the disciples of the sect will follow me into Yaluo City. At this time, Yaluo City. The news of Adong's death has become known to everyone, and the excitement has gradually faded. Yaluo City once again returned to its usual state. But the difference is that every ordinary demon cultivator in Yaluo City has a somewhat relaxed smile on his face. No one knows that it all started because of Zuyun. In the sect, the vision in the sky has also closed down, and Luo Yanran is waking up. Little guy, since you and Yanner are familiar with each other, if she wakes up and sees you first, it will definitely be a surprise. After taking the longevity pill given by Zuyun, Xianxia felt very relaxed, and she said to Zuyun with a smile on her face. The elders on the side also looked kindly towards Zuyun, which made Zuyun feel that he really came to Yaluo City at the right time. However, he still planned to relay his thoughts through Luo Yanran, which might be better. Following Xianxia and others, they walked in the direction of Luo Yanran's retreat. In addition to them, Wang Shu and Qiu naturally followed and stayed by Zuyun's side. Not long after, they were standing outside a small courtyard. There are small courtyards everywhere in Yaluo section. Qiu acted like a guide, following Zuyun to introduce the owner and unique features of each small courtyard, which made Zuyun a little fascinated. This is a real sect. Unlike the sects he had been to, which were all the same and more or less depressing. In Yaluo Demon sect, every small courtyard is decorated by the owner of the courtyard, and no one within the sect will interfere. Zuyun, you have great kindness to the sect master. If you and the sect ask for a small courtyard, the sect master will definitely agree. Xiu said this to Zuyun. At first Zuyun wanted to refuse. There were only female cultivators in Yaluo Demon section. After arriving into sect, he no longer saw any male cultivators except her. But for some reason, he thought of Menguia. Maybe she would come to Yasha realm in the future, right? If I can get a courtyard, it seems like a good idea to give it to Mengwea. So, he did not refuse directly, but told Xiu'er that he would think about it. Xiu'er felt a little regretful, but didn't say much. At this time, everyone's eyes were focused on the courtyard gate in front of them. Until, there was a sound from the courtyard door, and everyone was shocked. Squeak. The courtyard door opened wide, and the figure of a female cultivator appeared in the courtyard door. It's Luo Yanran. I've met Master, I've met all the elders. Luo Yanran glanced over and said hello quickly. Then he asked curiously, will the sect master have a future? Yan'er, don't you recognize the sect leader? Yu Tangzi chuckled, took a step forward, and stood in front of Luo Yanran. Luo Yanran's eyes tightened, and then she suddenly fell to the ground. I've seen the sect master. I think the sect master must have had some adventures before he returned to the state. Good Yan'er, Yu Tangzi was very pleased, and then said with a smile, my sect leader's adventures are not as good as yours. Look, who is here? After saying that, everyone stepped aside almost at the same time, and Luo Yanran then raised her head and looked straight ahead. Zhu Yun's figure fell into her eyes. For a moment, Luo Yanran was stunned. Hey, Senior Luo, congratulations on breaking the pill and becoming a baby. Zhu Yun scratched his head and said with a smile. Good boy. Luo Yanran was pleasantly surprised, and ran forward in 3 steps. She reached out and patted Zhu Yun on the shoulder, saying, I told you last time that I brought you here and you didn't come, but you secretly coming. No, I still have something to do. After I finish it, I will come to Yusha realm. It just so happens that when I get to the sect, the seniors are very polite. Zhu Yun continued to smile. That's because we, the Yaluo demon sect, are different from those hypocrites, Luo Yanran said with a proud look on his face. By the way, how did you come to Yusha realm? Did you encounter any trouble? She knew that there would be a war between the 2 realms, but she was still somewhat worried that something would happen to Zhu Yun. Yan'er, we don't know if there was any trouble before, but next time, whoever dares to touch Xiaozhu, I will be the first one to refuse. Since Luo Shuling knew that Zhu Yun would not have a further relationship with Luo Yanran, and after he rescued Yu Tangzi, she saw how Zhu Yun liked him. He was also the first to express his position at the moment. The other elders also followed suit, making Luo Yanran confused. Could it be that Zhu Yun gave the ecstasy pill to people in his sect? She wanted to bring Zhu Yun back before because she wanted to take care of him while she was favored. Unexpectedly, I just made a breakthrough, and it seemed that he was more popular than me. Senior Sister Luo, Xiu'er said softly at this time, Zhu Yun saved the sect master's life. You don't need to be surprised. Good boy. Luo Yanran was dumbfounded, you're pretty good at it. Good luck, Senior Luo is so ridiculous. Zhu Yun is naturally humble. Then, Yu Tangzi spoke again. Okay, don't talk anymore. Yan'er has successfully conceived a baby, so next, I have something important to announce. After hearing this, everyone was shocked, especially the elders. They vaguely guessed what was going on and stood up straight with solemn faces. Zhu Yun disagreed in his heart, feeling that these people were making a fuss out of a molehill. But when Yu Tangzi said it, Zhu Yun was also dumbfounded. Yan'er has had enough experience. Among his peers, Yan'er is qualified enough to take over my class in terms of qualifications and talent. So, from today on, Yan'er will succeed me as the leader of Yaluo demon sect. And I, then abdicate and give way to others. At this time, Zhu Yun had only one idea in his mind. Is it so casual? This is a major event where the old sect leader abdicates and the new sect leader takes over. No matter what, we have to announce it to the whole city, and the whole sect is going to have a banquet. But looking at the expressions of all the elders, it was obvious that they had known about Yu Tangzi's decision for a long time. Even Luo Yanran was not surprised. Congratulations, senior sister Luo, for meeting the sect master. Xiu and Wang Shu spoke in unison, finally bringing Zhu Yun back to his senses. Seeing each other again, all the elders also said in unison, "I've met the sect master." Luo Yanran is also the head of a sect in Yezhu, but she always calls herself this palace. I see. Zhu Yun suddenly realized. It is estimated that Yaluo demon sect is different from other demon sections. The people sent out to garrison are preparing to take over the position of the sect leader. Obviously, Luo Yanran has returned with success and can take over. I've met sect master Luo. Zhu Yun also followed suit and imitated Xiu and Wang Shu. Excuse me. Luo Yanran had a bit of majesty on her face. From this moment on, she changed from a junior to a person in power, which made Zhu Yun always feel a little weird. Elder Zhu, please inform the entire Yusha realm about the succession of our sect leader. Yes, sect master. Elder Zhu accepted the order and immediately retreated. Elder Zhou, the succession of our sect leader is a great joy for Yaluo City. If you continue to inform us, all merchants will be tax-free for 1 year. The entrance fee to the city will be halved. Yes, sect master. Elder Lin, the monks who were imprisoned for violating Yaluo City's rules within 1 month will be pardoned. However, their identities will be recorded and they will not be allowed to enter Yaluo City again in the future. Yes, sect master. Luo Yanran gave orders, and the elders left one after another. Soon, only 2 nascent soul stages, Luo Shuling and Yu Tangzi, were left here. Elder Luo, Supreme Elder, what are the recent developments of the Silver Sword Demon sect? Yu Tangzi's identity also changed very quickly, and she encountered the sneak attack and destruction of the Silver Sword Demon sect when she broke through. Luo Yanran's face suddenly turned pale. Originally, I didn't know why Yu Tangzi was seriously injured, but then Zhu Yun saved her life. Now, I completely understand. The barrier between the Yusha realm and the Peepa realm has just been removed. It would be inappropriate if we start another civil war. Luo Yanran pondered for a moment and said, just wait and see what happens. As long as there is a sword cultivator entering the city, follow it closely. Elder Luo, I leave it to you to handle it now. Yes, sect master. After Luo Yanran quickly retreated, Luo Yanran's expression relaxed and she walked to Zhu Yun. Zhu Yun, thank you very much. I, Luo Yanran, owe you another favor. Zhu Yun didn't know whether to laugh or cry, and said, Senior Luo, there is no need for this. You and I are old acquaintances, and we have a good relationship with Wei. Originally, I came here to seek help through you, so don't be polite. Huh? Did you already know that I would be the sect leader? Luo Yanran raised her eyebrows, while Yu Tangzi narrowed his eyes and looked at Zhu Yun. At this time, the Silver Sword Demon sect, which was preparing, suddenly received a message. Yaluo Demon sect has a new sect leader, it seems that Yu Tangzi is dead. The news was quickly passed to the Silver Snake Demon Lord. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills. Author, Banzuan Xianxia. Chapter 719. Really, God is helping me. The Silver Snake Sword Master was shocked, and the sword body shot out from the first seat, and turned into a human form again. Her silver hair moved without wind. Her face was full of madness. She knew Yu Tangzi. She knew that if Yu Tangzi knew that her life was coming to an end, she would definitely use a losing strategy when her life was running out, and then drag her down. That's why she notified them to take action after 1 month in her previous order. And now, the Yaluo Demon sect has a new leader, so naturally, Yu Tangzi will die suddenly. So, who is their new leader now? The Silver Snake Sword Master asked in a deep voice, with excitement on his face. Replying to the sect master, it was Luo Yanran who returned a month ago. According to the notice sent by the Yaluo demon sect, Luo Yanran has broken the pill and become an infant. Luo Yanran. The Silver Snake Sword Master laughed grimly and said, all our disciples stationed in Yajing who died because of her. Then, since she happened to be the sect master, it is reasonable for us to question her. No demon sect can say anything. Come on, set off in an hour. At the command of the Silver Snake Sword Master, all the cultivators in the entire Silver Sword City were busy. At this time, the Yaluo demon sect, Luo Yanran and Zuyun sat opposite each other, their faces full of solemnity. You mean, you want us to send people to the Demon Moon Forest? Zuyun did not hide anything and told Luo Yanran the purpose of his coming here, which shocked Luo Yanran. Of course she knew about the Demon Refining Tower, after all, she had been in Yazhu for so many years. But she didn't know that such a change had happened in the Demon Refining Tower. In the Silver Sword sect, she knew that the Demon Refining Tower had been opened and the Silver Sword sect had sent people there, but later, it was Chen Hua who brought the news of death. As a result, Chen Hua was angered and tortured. At that time, she was also under someone else's roof and had to bow her head. She had no way to help Chen Hua. Later, when she wanted to intercede, she found that Chen Hua had been rescued. But she never thought that after returning to Yasha realm, she heard that such a tortuous thing had happened in the Demon Refining Tower. Yes, if there is no accident, the Demon Refining Tower should still be in the Demon Moon Forest. Senior Luo, I need your help. If the evil thoughts of the Demon Saint in the Demon Refining Tower successfully take over Zufeng, I am afraid that not only Yasha realm will suffer, but the entire mortal world will never have peace again. Luo Yanran took a deep breath, looked directly into Zuyun's eyes, and said seriously, Zuyun, it's not that I don't want to help you, but it's not very suitable at this time. Zuyun hurriedly asked, why? You don't know, Luo Yanran smiled bitterly and said, the leader of the Yaluo demon sect has been changed. This news has been announced to the whole territory, and the Silver Sword demon sect will also receive it. They will take revenge for every grievance. You also said that they tried their best to stop my vision before, so. Are you afraid that they will attack Yaluo City at this time? Zuyun is not stupid. With Luo Yanran's slight reminder, he guessed the other party's concerns. Yes, Zuyun. Logically, we will definitely do whatever you ask us to do. But if the Silver Sword demon sect comes to kill us, we... Senior Luo, don't say anything, I know. Zuyun sighed and stopped Luo Yanran from continuing. The Demon Refining Tower was just Zuyun's guess, but the possibility of the Silver Sword demon sect attacking was very high. As the leader of the demon sect, Luo Yanran must first consider the safety of the Yaluo demon sect and Yaluo city. I'm sorry, Zuyun. Luo Yanran said very sincerely. With her realm, status, and identity, it was really rare, and Zuyun couldn't get angry at all. Senior Luo, there's no need to do this. I'll find a way myself. If it doesn't work, I can only go to the Demon Seal sect. Demon Seal sect. Luo Yanran was stunned and said, do you know anyone there? She was a little surprised. The Demon Seal sect was the leading demon sect in the entire Yasha realm. It was on par with the Devouring Demon sect. Their Yaluo demon sect is also very strong, but compared with these two sects, it is still far behind. Someone knows him, but I don't know whether he will help. But we have to try. Zuyun also smiled bitterly, but fortunately his original purpose was to go to the Demon Seal sect, and meeting Luo Yanran here was also an accident. He just stayed here for almost 2 days, and he had to hurry up next. So, Luo Yanran pondered for a moment and said, Elder Yu's lifespan has increased a lot now, and he doesn't need Xiu'er to serve him. I'll let Xiu'er go with you. Xiu'er. Yes, Xiu'er's real name is Nangang Xiu. As soon as this was said, Zuyun was shocked. Nangang, this is the direct surname of the Demon Seal sect. Senior Luo, is Xiu'er from the Demon Seal sect? Zuyun asked hurriedly. Not really, it's just that she is Nangang Yin's daughter. Zuyun was almost dumbfounded when he heard Luo Yanran say it himself. He thought Xiu'er was just an ordinary disciple of Yaluo sect, and at most she was trusted by Yu Tangzi, so her status was equal to that of the elders. But now, he knew. It was probably Nangang Yin's face. Zuyun, Xiu'er can take you directly to Nangang Yin. If you have any questions, just ask Xiu'er. There is no time to lose, you should set off quickly. Luo Yanran knew that Zuyun was anxious, so he urged. Okay, then I will go to find Xiu'er now. Xiu'er became an idle person. She had a good relationship with Wang Shu and was in Luo Shuling's courtyard at this time. Zuyun hurried over. The sect master asked me to take you to the Demon Seal sect. Xiu'er looked strange, but Wang Shu next to him said with a worried look on his face, Friend Zhu, why are you thinking about going to the Demon Seal sect? That's going deep into the Yasha realm. I have to go, so sect leader Luo asked me to come over and find Xiu'er. Xiu'er tilted her head and thought for a while, then said, Then do you know what my real name is? Zuyun frowned, Of course I know, but it didn't scare me. Giggle, giggle, Xiu'er said with a sweet smile, I wish fellow Taoist if there is something urgent, then let's set off. Junior sister Wang, you have to practice hard. Who knows when I come back, my realm will surpass yours. Xiu'er blinked her eyes. Although Zuyun felt strange, he didn't think too deeply about it. Wang Shu smiled and said, Senior sister Xiu'er, we haven't sparred for a long time since I followed the Supreme Elder. When you come back, let's see if I can beat you to tears. As she spoke, she shook her little fist. It was a pity that Zuyun had no time to appreciate such a harmonious scene. Xiu'er waved goodbye and took Zuyun all the way out of the clan. Friend Zhu Dao, why do you want to go to the Demon Seal sect? Can you tell me about it? In the city, you still can't walk too fast. Your pace is slow, so Xiu'er naturally can't hold back her curiosity. Especially after following Yu Tangzi all these years, I was suffocating her. This. Zuyun hesitated for a moment and said, It's a very important matter, let's wait until we get to the Demon Seal sect to discuss it. Seeing that Xiu'er still wanted to ask more questions, Zuyun quickly changed the subject and said, By the way, Xiu'er, you said that your level may have increased after you came back. Will the magic skills you practice improve so quickly? He, Zuyun, do you really not know, or are you pretending not to know? My father is the master of the Demon Seal section. Do you think that after I go back, she won't bring me some magic weapons for cultivation in big and small bags? Dan. Zuyun was stunned for a moment, then suddenly realized, but then he became excited again. Go empty-handed and come back loaded. What does this mean? It shows that Xiu'er still has a place with Nangang Yin. No wonder, Luo Yanran asked me to take Xiu'er there. This is not only a talisman, but also a guarantee that he can find helpers from the Demon Seal sect. Suddenly, Zuyun was filled with joy, and the way he looked at Xiu'er almost changed. Xiu'er, I'm a little anxious, but I didn't think about it. By the way, since you are the daughter of Nangang sect master, why, are you always in Yaluo sect? You know, Nangang Tingfeng has some complaints about Nangang Yin. Because my mother is from the Yaluo demon sect. However, my mother had some accidents when she gave birth to me, and she died. Before she died, she said to my father, let me stay in the Yaluo demon section, it would be better to grow up and practice. So, I have stayed in Yaluo city. However, I will go to Moyin sect to see my father every once in a while. I see, Zuyun thought for a moment and understood the key. All the Yalogo sect are female cultivators, but the Moyin sect has both men and women. Coupled with the Yalogo sect's behavior, the environment is indeed better for a newborn girl. Even Luo Yanran will be affected. The fact that he adopted Menghui in Yeazhu and raised her to the core formation stage can explain everything. I asked you to take me there, but I really found the right person. Zuyun nodded repeatedly, and the two of them walked and talked all the way outside the city. Xiu lightly danced her sleeves, took out a square magic weapon and jumped up, then waved to Zuyun and said, "Zuyun, my father told me to come home often, so he gave me this spiritual weapon. It's so fast, come up quickly." Zuyun was not polite and jumped up. Xiu was using the spiritual weapon, but Zuyun kept looking at it. A few hours later, the sun set in the west, and in the afterglow, countless sword lights came into their eyes. "No, it's those sword men." Xiu's expression changed instantly. "I started my cultivation by picking up the immortal skills." Author, Banzuan Xianxia. Chapter 720. The Silver Sword Demon Sect actually attacked Yalogo City. Zuyun was horrified. When Luo Yanran told him about this possibility, Zuyun still didn't believe it. He felt that she might be the new sect leader and she wanted stability in everything. But they didn't expect that just a short time after they left the city, they would run into someone from the Silver Sword Demon Sect. This formation is like thousands of swords firing at great speed. In the blink of an eye, we were only a few miles away from them. "Zuyun, what should I do?" As Yu Tangzi's most trusted person, Xiu knew about the recent dispute between the two sects and was immediately at a loss without any opinion. "Go back." Zuyun's mind was spinning rapidly and he made a decision immediately. His idea was simple. If he could help Yalogo Demon Sect kill these incoming sword cultivators, then Luo Yanran wouldn't refuse his request, right? And when he goes back, he can send the news back in advance and prepare, thus making the Silver Sword Demon Sect's night attack plan fail. But just as the spiritual weapon under his feet changed direction, a thick silver snake suddenly flew out of the sword formation and rushed straight towards the two of them. The boundless power seemed to swallow them both up, along with their spiritual weapons. "It's the Silver Snake Sword Lord." Xiu's liver and gallbladder were about to burst, and she was so frightened that she was covered in fragrant sweat. "Run, run first!" Zuyun shouted loudly. Xiu came back to her senses, hurriedly pinched the magic formula, and barely managed to avoid the bloody mouth of the silver snake. At this moment, Zuyun turned his hand and pinched out a lot of talismans. Silver Snake Sword Master, as she is called, means a sword wielder, and her speed has already shown the opponent's level. Sword cultivator in the nascent soul stage. Demon Seal? People from the Demon Seal sect. The silver snake missed a hit and turned into a human form floating in the air. It watched Zuyun and the others leave in panic and did not continue the pursuit. As soon as she finished speaking, several more sword energy flew towards her and stopped beside her. "Sect Master, why would the people from the Demon Seal sect appear here? How about, if you don't do anything, kill them without stopping?" The one who spoke was Senior Sister, whose strength was at the peak of the late nascent soul stage. His understanding of the way of swordsmanship is not even a star lower than that of the Silver Snake Sword Master. Nangongyan is not someone to be trifled with. This demonic seal is clearly from Nangongyan's hand. Although Nangongyan is a romantic person and is extremely strict with his children, he is very protective of his shortcomings. Silver Snake Sword Master shook his head and said, "Let them go, but you can send a message to Nangongyan and tell him that one of his daughters is hooking up with a casual cultivator who uses talismans. By the way, tell him the address as well. Maybe Nangongyan will still remember our love." The senior sister quickly followed the instructions, and soon the disciple in charge spread the news. The Silver Snake Sword Master then led a group of disciples and continued flying towards Yolodo City. Just an hour later, they realized something was wrong. Sect Master, in a few hours, I'm afraid they will reach the borders of Yolodo City. They. The senior sister frowned and pointed at the light spot in the distance. The Silver Snake Sword Lord pondered for a moment, then his face changed, and he exclaimed in shock, "No, I know which daughter of Nangongyin is that." Nangong Xiu was born from his liaison with the elder of Yolodo Demon Sect, and has been since then. Raised in the Yolodo Demon Sect. Sect Master, then we catch them up, kill them, and then destroy their bodies and eliminate all traces of them. Silver Snake Sword Master's eyes flashed fiercely, as if he was about to pass through the night. A group of nascent soul sword cultivators behind them all used their own sword control skills, flashing various lights and chasing the two people on the magic seal. Zuyun, they are chasing me, what should I do? Even though she was nearly 10 miles away, Xiu'er felt the endless crisis and was so frightened that her face turned pale. Although I didn't know why these people didn't chase him before, it's clear that they want to take action now. Their speed is comparable to that of the demon seal. It's not that easy to get rid of them. Zuyun took a deep breath, he had seen too many such occasions. They must be chasing the aura of the magic seal. This is the only way. Xiu'er, give me the method of using the magic seal. You go back to Yolodo City to report the news, and I will walk them to delay time. How can this work? If you are caught up, it will be over. Xiu'er refused directly. Xiu'er. Zuyun shouted loudly, they came here just to attack Yolodo City. Originally they didn't want to cause trouble, but they suddenly became violent. Apparently they were afraid that we would tip off the information and they would kill us without stopping. Now there is only one way, that is it's up to you to go back and inform the sect leader. I'll delay as much as possible, so that the Yolodo demon sect can sneak attack them. Don't hesitate anymore, otherwise there will be no chance. And you? I'm fine, I won't die. Zuyun looked confident and said, I forgot to tell you, why did I save the sects in the Yasha realm instead of looking for help from the Peepa realm? It's precisely because I killed many nascent soul monks in the Peepa realm. Then be careful. Xiu'er couldn't confirm the truth, but she also knew that she couldn't convince Zuyun anymore. On the contrary, what Zuyun said was that it might be the best time for the Yolodo demon sect to destroy the Silver Sword demon sect. After imparting the secret of the royal envoy's demonic seal to Zuyun word for word, Xiu'er jumped up and jumped under the cover of night. You can fly out of thin air during the pill-forming stage, and since this place is far away from the people of the Silver Sword demon sect, they never thought that Xiu'er would leave first. Humph, I didn't expect that I would have to do my old job of walking dogs again. It's just, this time I'm walking all female dogs. Zuyun sneered in his heart and quickly controlled the magic seal to make a big turn. The sword cultivators who were chasing closely behind them did not think much and followed the turn. In this way, the gap of nearly 10 miles has been shortened a lot in an instant. Silver Snake Sword Master frowned, secretly feeling that something was wrong, but he couldn't remember what the problem was, so he did not stop the disciples. Anyway, in her opinion, the person with the magic seal will definitely die. After waiting for thousands of years, I finally got the opportunity to destroy the Yolodo demon sect. If they can occupy Yolodo City, then their Silver Sword demon sect may become stronger, and with the demon seal sect, they can devour 3 points of the Yasha realm of the demon sect. Xiu'er was flying wildly against the ground, but she felt in her heart that the magic seal had changed direction. She couldn't help but pray for Zuyun, hold on, I'll go find the Supreme Elder. The Silver Snake Sword Master is so powerful that only Yu Tangzi can fight with him. When the other elders come over, they probably won't even be able to take a blow from her. Although the demon seal was handed over to Zuyun, she could feel the location of the demon seal within a certain range. This was a characteristic of the Yoluo demon sect's technique. It's like Meng Wei can sense his dark red knife. Xiu'er's clothes made a rustling sound and she quickly flew back to Yoluo City. There was no curfew in Yoluo City and there were many monks on the street. Xiu'er couldn't care too much and flew directly into Yu Tangzi's courtyard. Xiu'er. Yu Tangzi was also confused when he saw Xiu'er. Zong, Supreme Elder, Silver Snake Sword Master and a group of disciples are preparing to attack Yoluo City at night. Now Zuyun is restraining them, go and save him. Xiu'er finished speaking in one breath, her breath became confused. What? Yu Tangzi stood up in shock. After a breath, she immediately pulled Xiu'er up and flew directly outside Luo Yanran's courtyard. Yan'er, the Silver Sword Demon sect is attacking, Zuyun is holding it back. The shock at this moment made her forget the sect's rules and she needed to call Luo Yanran the sect master. Luo Yanran opened the courtyard door, not caring about such trivial matters, and took out a bell directly from her arms. Clang, 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 clang. A rapid ringing sound spread throughout the entire sect with a unique magical sound. After a few breaths, all the nascent soul stages in the sect have arrived. Sect Master, what's the matter? Luo Shuling found that Yu Tangzi was here too, with a solemn look on her face, and couldn't help but ask anxiously. Xiu'er, tell me. Luo Yanran only knew that the Silver Sword Demon sect was coming, but did not know the details. Xiu'er had regained her composure at this time and explained the situation she encountered and Zuyun's decision. All the nascent souls were already extremely shocked. It was not because of the sneak attack of the Silver Sword Demon sect, but because Zuyun tried his best to contain them, allowing the Yoluo Demon sect to counterattack. Without further ado, let's go. Luo Yanran gave an order, and all the nascent souls rose into the sky. At the same time, Luo Yanran took out another sound transmission jade talisman. All city guards, Yoluo City has a curfew. If anyone takes to the streets again after an hour, they will be shot without mercy. By the time they flew out of the sect, Yoluo City was as quiet as before. Zuyun, on the other hand, was very worried. He found that he had underestimated the speed of these sword men.